Welcome to the University of Michigan Dentistry Podcast Series, promoting oral health care worldwide.
Before condensing amalgam into your cavity preparation, it is wise to pretest all of your condensers and carvers to make sure that they fit in the proper direction. Using the different size condensers that will build this amalgam restoration up to an overfill. You'll note that they got increasingly larger as I was trying them. This is a crescent contoured condenser, very useful in the condensation and the contouring of the buccal surface. A ward carver is the instrument that is used for carving. We test occlusal and cervical, make sure that the point is in contact, but that we establish a buccal contour. A burnisher, Wesco, that is used to burnish the surface of it. Now, in the condensing of this amalgam, what we attempt to do is to get our amalgam into the cervical portion and drive it into that retentive groove with a jiggling, pressing motion. Now, there'll be excess amalgam that will come up to the surface, and that's what you just scoop off like so. Working ourselves across the cervical floor, notice the jiggling motion of the condenser. This is what causes good condensation in a dense amalgam. Now working on the axial wall up towards the occlusal portion, the occlusal retentive groove. And that's what we're doing now, driving this amalgam into that occlusal retentive. Now from this point on, it's a matter of building our amalgam up to an overfill. Pressure and jiggling motion is highly important. Always applying the condenser flat against the surface of the amalgam that you are condensing. Keeping an outline form so that you can see Now, we are using the instruments that you have available to you. This crescent condenser we will show in another cavity preparation and the utilization of an automatic condenser. Now, as we get up towards the caval surface of the tooth, we are working with larger condensers. Again, getting rid of the excess so that we can see the cavity preparation. We're using our carrier just to place the amalgam against the surface so that we have the contour that we're seeking. Now, you use 1 unit of your amalgam, be sufficient for an average class 5. No use wasting it. There are times, however, when the size of the cavity preparation will dictate that 2 units, 2 capsules will be necessary. Now we'll take our carver, our ward carver, and note that I am carving from mesial to distal, trying to maintain a buccal going off the excess, down on the cervical now. Now, one must remember the outline form of the cavity preparation. Very essential that you remember the exact outline form because that's what you have to carve your amalgam back to. A burnishing, carving motion, trying to maintain the buccal contour that was destroyed by the decay. That it's important to us because that allows for deflection of food off that buccal surface. I think that you can see through the center of this amalgam the contour that we are trying to maintain. Now with our Wesco in a burnishing motion, being very careful that we don't destroy that buccal contour to it. Now as you push towards the distal and draw towards the mesial, portions of amalgam will extend themselves beyond the margins necessary to go back. And very gently, with care, remove these overhanging pieces of amalgam. If you don't take them off in the carving, you're going to have to polish them off, and it's much more difficult to do that. Now we spend a considerable amount of time in our burnishing for the primary reason that we want to cut our finishing procedures to a minimum. If we can create a nice smooth surface, well contoured, in the packing and carving stage, it will reduce the amount of time that we have to spend in the finishing stage. It's much easier to work with amalgam in a plastic state than it is to work with amalgam that is set up and that you're trying to finish with discs and stones and plug finishing burrs. Once again, I think one of the most important things for you to recognize is that we try to maintain the buccal roll or height of contour to this tooth down through here. And so we don't ever put the instrument in here flat against that buccal surface and cut or carve from mesial to distal. We always put it in at an angle. And we burnish, like so, and then towards the cervical, maintaining that height of contour in there. Taking our Explorer and making sure that we've cleaned out pieces of amalgam that may be in here. One last check before releasing our patient. Final burnishing, of course, is accomplished. We have one small overextension at the cervical, which we will wipe off with our burnisher, piece of amalgam that had been cut and was resting against there. And you must be careful of these pieces and particles of amalgam. Oftentimes you'll cut them, but if you don't burnish them off, they will remain and adhere. And this is especially true in interproximal restorations. On the buccal surface, one can easily see these little projections. Now again, finishing the burnishing, maintaining the contour, putting a nice smooth finish to the amalgam that will easily be finished and polished at a subsequent appointment. Now one could dismiss the patient, of course, after taking the rubber dam off and cleansing the area.
You've been listening to a presentation from the University of Michigan School of Dentistry, which is dedicated to supporting open learning and open educational resources. This recording is licensed under the Creative Commons. It may be reused and redistributed for nonprofit use. Please attribute materials to the University of Michigan School of Dentistry and redistribute under this same license. For more information on how this and other University of Michigan School of Dentistry recordings may be used, visit www.dent.umich.edu/license.